Hello and welcome to the Bobby Moore Stand. I'm Gary and this is a Thursday transfer show. But it's more than just a Thursday transfer show. I'm going to talk about a load of stuff today. And one thing that's really important to me and to Chris is around, very special occasion. You've forgotten, haven't you? It's our birthday today. We're 1 year old. The Bobby Moore Stand turns 1 year old today. It's gone in a heartbeat, but at the same time, does actually seem like quite a long year, but no, it's been a lot of fun. I'm going to talk about that later, but that's a bit self-indulgent, so I'll leave it till right to the end of the show because you've come here to listen to transfer news. I know that. I'll also talk about the away kit as well, the new away kit, which is has to be said, a bit of an improvement on home kit, isn't it? So before I start though, there's a bit of a strange thing keeps happening to me. As I've mentioned a few times, started doing the couch 10K, and I used to do a lot of running, and so this is like starting an old car in the morning. It's terrible, but it's going well. We're on week 4, me and my daughter, and we're just going to parks and running around. It's quite nice actually, getting out about. It's what I used to do, and it's even though I used to run the streets around here because I couldn't be bothered driving down the park, but for her, she's a new runner, I thought make it nice. So we go to various parks. I won't tell you what they are because that's the point of the story, right? Do you remember that episode? I think it was the one where they went to Holland. Yeah, I think it was where to Hull and back. Yeah, I think it was the old Only Fools and Horses episode where Denzel he thinks he keeps seeing Del Boy, right? Wherever he looks, he sees Del Boy and he thinks he's going mad. Well, I'm not seeing Del Boy, and I don't want to think I'm calling him Del Boy, but I think most mornings when I run in this particular park, I see what looks like Steve Potts. I'm sure it's fucking Steve Potts. I'm sure it is. But I've done that before. I've said hello to someone thinking there's someone else, and you feel like, all right, Pratt. Plus, as you know, I'm extremely fit. Yeah, and so I'm moving at quite a pace typically when I go past him, and with my tits bouncing up and down and everything else, you sort of it's difficult because it's a moving target, right? I don't want to stop. I want to carry on going. I ran past him twice this morning, tried to focus on him twice. He was a moving target again, a bit blurry. I'm sure it's Steve Potts. So let me know if you know where Steve Potts walks his dog. Because if it is Steve Potts, imagine if Steve Potts watched this show. I would say, Steve, I'll tell you what, this Saturday, I'll meet you same time, 6:30, in a little foresty bit. Got some questions for you. I love that. So look, that's a bit weird. It's happened 4 times now. 4 times. I've only been running a few weeks. I roughly know what's. It's not I'm stalking him or anything, you know what I mean? This guy that may or may not be Steve Potts. Right, so look, let's get on with the show. You're here to talk about transfers, aren't you? And look, it's a fast-paced world, the transfer market at the moment for West Ham. I think the rumours and the gossip and the links have changed literally several times a day. It's pretty amazing, really. I'm going to try and go through as much news as I can find, and there is a lot of it, so bear with me. I've got to actually get right back to the beginning. And I'll tell you what, before we start, the El Hadji Malik Diouf, I loved. There was a video which showed that he was, he'd been training on his own because they wanted to not get him injured because the deal was done and everything else. Well, he came on. There was I think a pre-season friendly at his club, Slavia Prague, and he was brought onto the pitch about the 90th minute. Before he came on, he was hugging all of the coaching staff, the manager, all his teammates. He came onto the pitch. So fucking rapturous applause from the home fans. They absolutely loved him. And then when it finished, he's hugging all the players. The guy seems to get on with everyone, and that is the kind of character, the kind of positive character we need in that dressing room. Youngster, full of enthusiasm, full of talent as well. I think he's going to be a storming success for us. And when you think of the other Senegalese players we've had playing for us before. We've had a lot of stars. We've had a hell of a lot of stars. You know, anybody, you know, that the better Cheku Kiarte, what I'm saying. I think he actually went to Kiarte's house and asked about West Ham, and he actually he told him yes, he recommended him to go there. Bear in mind, Crystal Palace were in for him as well. Yeah, he said, "Don't go there, don't go there. Horrible place, horrible place." But when you think about it, I mean, we've had some amazing players, Saka and people like that. You know, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He's going to be a good fit as well, a very good fit. He's an explosive overlapper. Now, he's already a seasoned international. When you look at the games he played last year he come of age. If you look at what happened, the season before he wasn't so regular. Last year he was first team regular at such a young age, and he played in he's played in the Champions League as the first team regular. He's played in the Europa League as well. I think we've got a real bargain here, and when he starts to improve a little bit, he's a bit rough around the edges, it has to be said, but I'd rather have that and someone who's fully committed and he's got it. Honestly, he's got a wand of a left foot, and you know I'm keen on a left footer because I am one. My left foot's not very good though. So there was a rumor that you know, Harvey Elliott has snubbed West Ham. I mean, I don't know. It's not confirmed. I suppose it's Tyler Morton is still in the frame. I think we've got to wait and see how this one evolves, because there's lots more rumors that Lucas Paquetá might be moving on. Did you see that video of Lucas Paquetá and Fulkrug dancing? It was just such a brilliant thing. He was doing Fulkrug was doing the kind of typical Europop dancing that you find in European cities. You know, not very good. Verging on body popping. You know, very 1980s. And then Paquetá was watching him and wondering how he could move his hips so little. And then suddenly, he just let loose for a couple of seconds, Paquetá, and started all the old samba moves and everything else. Like, hey, shut up, go away, mate. It was amazing. But I love happy videos like that. And but nonetheless, look, he looks a lot happier now, Paquetá. I don't hold anything against him if he wants to move. I know that Chris has a slightly different view, and so do many people, and that is, oh, he should stay and give us another season. But this guy's been through a couple of years now. I mean, the FA won't end this thing, will they? It's going to end soon. It has to. But why they're keeping us hanging on when it's already pretty much known what the outcome's going to be, I don't know. Dotting the I's, crossing the T's. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. But it seems a bit farcical that it keeps rumbling on, because we can get this deal done. We can bring more money in. It goes with my best wishes, right? Because nobody, if he's found not guilty, then for me, he's not guilty. I don't care whether people think he was guilty or not. If that's what they say, that's absolutely fine. Going to clear of all charges, and so for that reason and for his contribution, there have been times where he's been spectacular for us. Not enough times, but we know what a great player he is. And there's nothing better than seeing Lucas Paquetá playing with a smile on his face. And that's what he had on his face yesterday, actually, when he was mucking around with Fulkrug. So I suspect he already knows, to be honest. It looks like the weight of the world's been lifted off his shoulders. I don't buy this Douglas Luiz one, but it carries on. You know, it carries on. I do love this one, the one that Chris focused on the other day, and that is Matías Fernandes. You know, it's still kicking on. When I saw his age, similar reaction to when I saw Diouf's age. I thought, you know, 2021, you're thinking a bit young. But no, these are sometimes a 21-year-old cannot be a fully developed grown up, if you like. These boys are. I mean, he's in good shape, this geezer. 21-year-old Portuguese under 21 international, and 18 to 20 million. It just seems like a snip, you know, and we seem to be planning for when Paquetá goes by, you know, bringing in people who are also, you know, can carry the ball and play a killer pass and stuff like that. And we're linked with plenty of them, you know, plenty of them. And oh God, bloody hell! Sorry, I just just come across some rather troubling news, and that is what is it? Danny Dyer gives Jared Bowen blessings to leave. I would only give him a blessing to leave. No, I can't have a go at Jared Bowen. I can't. He's done so much for us, Jared Bowen. He's given us a wonderful night in Prague, but not only that, so many other wonderful days and nights. He don't owe us anything. He's delivered everything. So if he wants to go and play in the Champions League, I'm not going to hold it against him. There's no way I'll ever turn on him. No way. He's one of us, and he will be back later because he's married to a bloody West Ham family, right? You know that when he's finished playing, if he does leave and go and play in the Champions League, he'll do bloody brilliant for who he plays for. He'll always have my support no matter who he plays for, because underneath it all, he's now West Ham through and through, and he always will be. That includes Arsenal, by the way. I don't care. If he wants to go, he has my blessing. He has my blessing, right? I'm not going to get all shitty about it, honestly. I don't think anyone should. You've got to have a bit of respect for these people and their contribution. And nobody has contributed more to us, our survival, our glory, that little bit that there was in the last few years since he arrived, than Jared Bowen. Bloody hell. He even married into West Ham royalty. What are you going to say? You know, when you look at what are the other things that we've got here, we've all heard about the George Earthy ankle ligament blow. That's not great. You know, let's hope we don't have a season where these things are, you know, start rumbling on and we get more injuries than we can cope with, like we did last year. There's a troubling rumour here, and that is around Thomas Souček going to Everton. Now, at the end of the season, we all predicted he would go to Everton, didn't we? Again, I'm not going to get on his back one little bit, because I think, to be honest, he's a bona fide West Ham cult hero now. For the stuff he's done for the club, again, you've got to look at contribution. He's never, ever not tried. He's not the most technical player, but he's never, ever not tried. Nobody could accuse him of that, right? However, we know that in the, you know, the Potter midfield, which is based on possession grids and all that technical stuff that I don't understand, he's not really suitable. He would be only suitable for certain games, to be brought in, and where his height and his presence and his aggression would be a benefit. But he ain't going to be a week in, week out player, is he? He ain't. So again, if he goes to Everton, no way I'm going to have a go at him. No way, because again, such a great servant. And in this day and age, I know it's a relatively short number of years, but in this day and age, you've got to look at, have they always given their best? Have they delivered? Have they ever said anything about West Ham, or have they bought into us? Have they tried to do their best under every single manager? And there's been a few of them. And I think the answer is just a emphatic yes to all of those things when it comes to him, when it comes to Jared Bowen. I would say that I would have said the same for Lucas Paquetá if it wasn't for this betting scandal. But the fact is, if he gets found not guilty, which he probably will, then I can't really blame him, because I don't know how I would have coped with that, having my livelihood almost torn away from me. I just don't know. That's a tough thing to deal with, a really tough thing to deal with, having that hanging over your head, and literally the court of public opinion already deciding, especially TalkSport, that he was guilty, and some idiots saying, "Oh, he's going to go to prison." It was never a thing, right? It's never a thing. So they're saying that Lucas Paquetá exit could bankroll Harvey Elliott. Now, I'd be in favour of that. I'd love to see Paquetá stay for another year, because I love the guy when he's in the mood, and having him for another season is kind of a dream. But if he ain't up for it and he wants to change the scenery, I totally understand that. And he set up the goal that gave us our first silverware, and he gave us so much pleasure when he was on song. All those fantastic wins we had when he was pinging the ball up to Kudus and, oh, should mention his name, and Bowen. You know, when he was in his pomp, he was great, right? No one can say anything about that. Another one that's being linked to come in. This is more or less a Kudus replacement, and that's Marcus Tavernier of Bournemouth. This is quite an old link, actually. It's quite an old link, but it's a new link. He's come back, and he's 26, 5'10". no caps. But yeah. Well, of course he ain't. Of course he ain't. He plays for Bournemouth. Of course, you know you got to be playing in the Champions League to get an England team, right? Left-footed ball carrier. Another left foot. I love the left footers. Fantastic. Obviously a very talented player. Cultured. The ball is part of him when he's running with it. Similar to myself. Presses well. End product streaky. But I've seen some good end products out of him. Gets my vote as well. You know, as the guy we spoke with earlier, spoke about earlier in the last few days, Matías Fernandes. Arnel Martinez rumbles on. Right back, Girona right back in talks advance. Now, again, I just take all that sort of stuff with a pinch of salt because that says nothing, does it? You know, talks advance. How do you know? What do you mean they've advanced? What, you mean they've carried on talking since yesterday, so it's a day later? I don't know. 14 million euros though. He seems like again, won't go over him in depth because we've covered him already. But 22 years old, 5'11", seems to have every attribute we want, and 14 million euros feels like a steal. There's a lot of value to be had out there, isn't there? I mean, I said a few weeks ago that our minimum price, whenever we go in for a player, it seems to turn into 30 million. Well, that's been proved wrong. Let's quickly have a change topic a bit, and let's have a look at this new kit. It's new kit. When I was about to click on this morning, I thought, oh, here we go, because I was quite shocked with that one the other week. Just smacked of lack of effort. Must try harder. You know what I mean? It's like we've only got claret. We have no blue. So this is an interesting one. Look, it's all the players dressed up at the back of the bus, looking at me, having a chat, about to get the cards out. Yeah, it looks all right. I'm not quite used to the Boyle Sports thing yet, but I'm sure it'll grow on me like fungus. I don't know. But anyway, that with, I think, claret shorts, I've always liked that. It looks kind of creamy, but I think it's white. I like a white away kit. I do. We've got a lot of happy memories with white away kits down the years, and I think, yeah, you got to have a bit of a contrast, don't you? Of course you have. So all right, I'll give 2 out of 10 for the first kit, for the home kit. So Umbro, I'll give him a 7 out of 10 for that one, because you cannot, in my opinion, beat a white kit. I also like a black kit as well, but if you can have a dark home kit, you can't have a dark away kit, can you? There's no darker than our bloody home kit, is there? Crescentio Somerville, cautious hamstring rehab. So they're easing him back after the January surgery. January surgery, it's a long time ago now. I thought it went on. I thought January was when he refused the surgery and he was trying to let it heal naturally. Internally, we hope for an August return, by all accounts. You know, another update on what Danny Dyer actually said. He said it'd suffer Jared signing for Real Madrid and Man City, but not domestic rivals. I support that statement. He raised what I said earlier. No, it still counts. I support him no matter where he fucking goes. I mean, if he played for Arsenal or someone, I wouldn't be interested in watching his games. I just wish him well as a guy, right? Because he's a top professional. Nobody could accuse him ever of being the J word, you know? Just can't. He's a proper bloke, proper West Ham. He can't forget West Ham. Every time he goes home after training, no matter who he's playing for, it's going to be Danny dressed in her West Ham United shirt, which is I'm sure it's a West Ham United shirt. Yeah, I'm sure. But anyway, look, he can't escape it. Danny be on the phone to him at night as well. The other Danny, making sure he's still staying loyal. You know what I mean? So talk about this is fine. Let's go through the rest of the news. So just a quick roundup. So a lot about Steiten in the paper later. There was a rumor a few weeks ago that he was going to Barcelona. He's been offered a bunch of new players, a bunch of new positions, apparently, according to him. He divides opinion, but I think really the proof of the pudding's in the eating. The big problem of getting rid of him for me was he closes deals. He proved it. He closed really unlikely deals really quickly, got a jet out, bought them back. I thought it was worth keeping him just for that skill. Take all the rest of his responsibilities away, you would be stripping his role down. But you say you're no longer in charge of finding players. We've got Potter and Macaulay and all the other scouts that we've hired to do that. Go and close the deal. Pretty sure he would have. I don't know whether his ego would have taken it, because I'm not sure whether my ego would have taken it, because you're being relegated. But at the same time, he would have carried on getting his salary, wouldn't he? And I think it's easier when you're employed. It's like any job, right? When you're employed, but when you've got a job, it's easier to find a new one. When you're out of work, it's not so easy. Yeah, so let's have a look at the next story. It's only about 5 or 6 of them. So this is again, it's talking about Bowen. So these ones are just coming from news now. So he's been linked to all sorts of places. He's been linked with Liverpool. Again, I wouldn't mind that so much, because I'm kind of used to begrudging respect for Liverpool. They're kind of out of our set, aren't they? Out of our league. It would yeah. I don't know. I'd have to develop a coping strategy, I think, if he was to go to Chelsea, to avoid those nasty thoughts I used to have when John Terry and Frank Lampard played for Chelsea. Really didn't like them. Really didn't like that at all. That's it. There's not really. I think I've covered all of this already. David Moyes beats Hammers to target. Who's he beat us to? Hot on the heels of disappointing Harvey Elliott News comes the update that Everton have pipped West Ham to the signing of Douglas Luiz. I don't think we're ever in for him. That is a Moyes signing. He goes for the older end of the scale, right? And let's be honest, he played for Everton, for Fulham, in a good side that played kind of free flowing football. We kind of know what side he's moving into there, and flair players are used sparingly in a Moyes system. But who knows? Who knows? Again, I'm not going to have bitterness for Moyes this season. Good luck to him. He done well for us. I have no hatred for the man. I don't. I'm reborn. Right. And that's it. The last thing is about, for Christ's sake, why don't they get on with and let Paquetá off? Because we all know it's coming. But they won't, will they? They won't. So look, before we let me just go up. I have actually written a few things down, because I want to get this absolutely right. I don't want to. Well, if only I could just keep the bloody script open. I don't use scripts, but I write down things to remind me of what I'm supposed to be talking about and where I'm at, And look, going back to what I said at the top of the show, we're 1 year old today. I think, to my knowledge, been watching West Ham on YouTube for quite some time. I think, to my knowledge, I don't think any channels have grown to almost 7,000, 6,712. I think we were today in a year. That's astounding. It's really special, and we owe you, our regular viewers, and new viewers, you all count. I hope you become regular viewers, a special debt of gratitude, because this has been a year of growing for us. This is growing and learning. It's year one. It's year one of a new sort of venture. We knew what we wanted to create, Chris and I. And I think we've almost created it, or we're on the way to creating it, right? We got most things right. There were a few obstacles along the way, but yeah, those little bumps in the road smoothed out. But here we are. We're in a really good place. If you watch our stuff regularly, thank you so much. And I'm not just saying that. You hear this on YouTube all the time. No matter what, whether it's West Ham or any other channel that you watch on YouTube, and I watch a lot of YouTube. Pretty much everyone says like, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, blah 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 blah. Right, but it's slightly different for us, and let me tell you why. We don't take your money. Literally, the only payment we get is through ads. When you watch ads, or if you're a YouTube Premium member, that's what pays a couple of pence to us, right? Those couple of pence add up if you get decent views. And when you get decent views, it drives more views. When you get lots of likes, it drives more views, because the algorithm likes that a lot. When you leave a comment, when you got lots of comments and people are responding to them, it drives more views, and therefore it drives more money into us. That money doesn't go into our pockets. It goes on the running costs of the channel, and everything extra is reinvested in the channel to make the channel better. And that is sort of our promise to you. That is what we'll do. This is never going to be a money-making venture for us. Why would it be? We've both got, well-paid, good jobs. We're not bloody rich, but I'm saying we don't need the money from this channel. We always said it should be self-sustainable, and if anything, it makes our tax affairs easier anyway, because who wants the HMRC after you? So you might not think it matters when we say. You might think it's just a bloody boring message when people stop a video and say, please like, subscribe, blah 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 blah. But with us, that's how you fund us. That's how you make us better. That's how you make us bigger. So please, one more time, please subscribe to the channel if you watch us, even if you're new, and give this video a like. The more likes, think of it's a penny for every like. That's what we get, maybe. Yeah, it's not that much. And we put our time and effort into these shows. It ain't just the recording of the shows; it's the prep. Every show takes prep. A couple of hours. I know you've got tools now that can help it. They can help you with some of those tasks. But to be honest, I said this the other day. I work in technology. I sell AI. I see where it's going, and I think on YouTube specifically, I think you're gonna have in order to stay valid to humans watching you, if you're not going to be watched by AI, you've got to be at you've got to show your human side, right? People want to watch people, not fucking AI generated people and voices. And so we're never going to do that. This is never going to be artificial in any way, shape, or form. Won't tolerate it, right? If we can use that technology to make your experience better as kind of value add features, that we're thinking about at the moment, it's not just AI, it's lots of different things, but we've got lots and lots of really good ideas that we think are going to make the shows amazing. And that's what we're working on development at the moment. I won't say anything else now, but you will like it. You will like it, right? So what I want to do now is just go back. Look, it's been a long journey this year. We're not only free, by the way, on YouTube. We are also free on Spotify, as I think everyone is. I don't know. No, they're not. But we put all of our videos, and you can get an audio podcast if you want on Spotify, or that audio. Spotify then replicates that out to all of the different audio podcast channels, right? So you can get it. You can listen to it in the car. You can catch shorts on TikTok, which will eventually link back to the main channel when I get the time to deal with TikTok. I like it, actually. It's a good platform. It's quite the people on there are quite nice. It's refreshing, yeah. And I think all of those channels, when I say subscribe, this is the last time I'm going to say it today. I promise you. I'm going to get on to talk about what we've done now. If you see us on TikTok, follow us. If you see us on, if you watch us or listen to us on Spotify, please follow us on there as well. Again, that will be eventually, when it gets to a point, we'll start getting a little couple of pennies off there as well. And as with the model on YouTube, all that money will go back into the channel to make it even better, right? So I think we've come a long way in a year. Hell of a long way. Chris came, Chris joined me. I've known Chris for a while now, and we were talking about West Ham quite a lot on the phone. And those phone calls used to go on for hour, 2 hours, constantly talking over each other, just like we do on the show, right? And it was fun. We obviously had some sort of chemistry there. So why don't you come on YouTube? Go and give it a go. Come on YouTube. And I come on for one show, and I've held him hostage ever since. But he's like with all hostages, after a while they kind of adapt. Yeah, and he enjoys it now. He enjoys it now. We've made in a year since launch 69 live shows, 83 pre-recorded, and 10 shorts. Shorts ain't good, but hey, they'll get better. We've acquired, as of today, 6,712 subscribers. Every one of those, even the 12, bloody important. Like I said before, I think we're the fastest growing West Ham YouTube channel ever, but don't really matter. It's just something that I think is good to see. Shows what a sort of upward trajectory we've had in that year. And I got to be honest, in that year, there's been periods where we've just stopped making shows. You know, like the transfer window. For the last 2 weeks of the transfer window, we're just like bored. The winter transfer window, bored, not making any more because it was clear we weren't going to spend money. We even did a transfer window close show. We had a they do they close it at midnight on a day. 3 days earlier, we closed it and said, right, the transfer window's closed. We've loaned Evan Ferguson and nothing else. Yet the news went on for the next couple of days of who we were linked with. Nothing was happening. Nothing was happening. Bit of a gamble, but I felt it was a solid gamble when you look back at who we've ever signed in January when we're probably not going to get relegated. Nobody. A couple of loans. That's all it is. Right. So I want to say thanks as well to Chris, who's been amazing. It's not just Chris, and it's not just it's the families behind us as well. So we disappear for long periods down the shed, as you'd expect. We're distracted, sort of preparing stuff when we should be paying attention to our families, sort of thing. So I want to say thanks to Chris's wife Amanda as well, and his kids Fred and Lee. So and on my side as well, I'm in this house with Lisa, Adam, and Lily, and sometimes I'm just an ignorant git because I'm doing something for the channel, right? And it's all a sacrifice. It's all a sacrifice. So it's not just us; it's the people behind us as well. Won't be able to do it without them. So, and one person we definitely wouldn't been able to do it without is Claire, our amazing moderator, who takes care of the live chats, because we always wanted this channel to be a nice channel, right? Where people could chat openly and not be afraid to give their opinion through, we didn't want people to just be targeted. And so that was really the guidance we gave Claire. We didn't need to give her that guidance. She bloody knew it already. She wouldn't come otherwise. And so she takes no prisoners. Mean Claire she'll give someone a little warning, put them on a naughty step. The minute they step out of line again, boom, they're out. And that's the way it's got to be. If you're going to have a nice conversation, there is no need to be horrible to people. No need at all. We're all supposed to be West Ham fans, right? So that is the way we run this channel. And honestly, if that don't work for you, don't watch us. Yeah, we want good people, thoughtful people who are interested in the good of West Ham to watch us only. So look, we've got our day jobs. We've managed to not let this interfere with our day jobs at all. If ever family things come up, we've put the family first, like we said we would. But largely, we've been all right. We've had to take a little bit of time off here and there, like quarter end and stuff like that when work gets manic. But largely, we've kept it going seamlessly throughout the season. We're going to make things better so we can generate more shows. Quite happy with that. 162 shows in a year, though. That's pretty good going for when you got full-time jobs. It was our vision originally, and it's still our vision to create a channel which it brings the opinions of the match-going fan to those who don't go to games. And look, there's always a reason why you don't go to games. You could be on the other side of the world. Might not be able to afford it. You might have served your time. You went to games for 50 years or 20 years or something like that, but you can't stand going anymore. Might not like the stadium, right? But either way, every single West Ham fan counts, whether you go to games, whether you sit at home, whether you're on the other side of the world, you're West Ham. You're West Ham. But we definitely felt that the one set of fans who were not being properly represented were the fans inside the ground, who are typically, if you were to rate it on average, they're typically more accepting of they don't, when you go to games, drive up the M1 to, you might go all the way up the A1 to Newcastle or whatever. I think it's the A1. Spend God knows how much getting there, probably staying in a hotel, seeing us lose and coming back again, right? So, but on your way up there, you're looking forward to the game. You're thinking maybe today something good's going to happen. Always in the back. I've never been to a West Ham game, I don't think, but one or two perhaps, where I knew we were going to lose. But there ain't been that many over the years where I've sort of thought, oh, we're definitely going to lose. I've always thought we got a chance. because that was, if you want to define the West Ham way, that was the West Ham way, where we could beat anybody on our day, but unfortunately we could lose to anybody on our day as well, and that's still the case. But look, we're both lucky enough to live close and own season tickets. I mean, some of us more season tickets than others, you know, totally by mistake, but and but the thing is that the fans, to me and Chris go to home games. We go to a few away games, whatever ones we can get tickets to. The top, if you were to put a ranking list of fans together, I think everybody is equal, right? Apart from the few who go that extra mile, and it is a few. And I'm talking about people, the real diehards who live in very, you know, far corners of the country, like Dodsey, who lives down in Devon or Cornwall. Anyway, he goes to every game, home or away, in Europe, pre-season friendly, you name it. Dodsey travels with his group from the southwest to that game and then back again in a minivan. That's one example. And then, you know, I've got a friend, Chris Miles, who travels down from up in Lancashire, Yorkshire, don't want to offend you. And there was Gary North previously, who's always been a Northerner, you know, but always travelled down to West Ham, home and away. If you look at a guy that we had on one of the vlogs earlier in the season, Welsh Johnny, I'd never met him before, but what a fabulous guy. Used to be on some TV show. That was quite popular, actually. It escapes me, but what a fabulous character he was. He does the same as Dodsey. He lives in Wales. I can't remember if it's Swansea or Cardiff. That'll upset him. But I think I'm going to go for Swansea. Yeah, I'm going to go Swansea. Definitely upset him if I'm right. But he goes like Dodsey to every game. It's like his life is built around West Ham games and planning it. These are the fans who go the extra mile to watch West Ham. What I do is get in a car, drive down the A12, park at here east, walk along the canal, watch the game, go home again. That's nothing. That's not a sacrifice, right? When I go to a away game, is sacrifice, I suppose, but I don't. You know, I love away games because I love the away fans. The away fans are my pick of fans, right? And let's not forget the fans all over the world, the ones in USA, Australia, and everywhere in between, the ones that a few times a year, once or twice a year, will get on a plane, fly over here, and usually, ultimately, be disappointed as they pick a couple of West Ham games where we get a good hiding. You know, there is one exception to that rule. Chris Benson in New Zealand, who's a friend of mine, he came over with his son. Now, Chris has been over to West Ham. I don't know how many trips he's made now, but I think I've seen him on every trip he's been over. And every time he comes over, he plans it so that he's going to see about 4 or 5 games. You know, he's never seen us lose. It's spooky. The last time he came over, I think, you remember that run we had just before Christmas where we were playing Arsenal away and Tottenham away, and we kept winning. That was Chris. Everyone I know is called Chris, by the way. Right, so the chosen few who live in those places, you know, make that pilgrimage. That is expensive, probably almost as expensive as these guys like Dodsey and Welsh Johnny and the others who travel up and down the country, but not on a time basis because they sacrifice their time. But those people go the extra mile. If I was to rank West Ham fans, I'd say they are the ones that put in the effort. They are the ones that deserve to hear their voice heard the most. You know, more than me. So, but when you add us all together, the people all over the world, the people at home who watch on TV, the people who go to grounds and watch games, the people that travel bloody miles and travel across continents to watch us, that is the sort of the net sum of the magnificent West Ham fan base. And I'm not being biased, it's factual. We are the best fans in the world. I mean it. If you want proof, ask Craig Bellamy. Because he said, not only are we the best fans he's played for, don't forget he's played for Liverpool and Newcastle and everything, right? We're the best fans he's played for and the most knowledgeable. I'll always remember that. For that reason, I'll always love Craig Bellamy. What a guy. What a guy. So we're going to move on to year 2 now. Year 2, what we're going to do. We're going to bring some new things like I've alluded to already. I'm not going to tell you what they are. I'm going to surprise you. The core of what we do is going to stay the same, but we're going to have some add-ons. It's going to be good. We will bring some more faces to the channel as well. We're going to stay as the core, but we want to bring people on that you will like. Same sort of values as me and Chris. we don't insist they have the same West Ham opinions as us, because that'd be boring, wouldn't it? Me and Chris, we go to watch the same game in the same stand, come out with different points of view. How's that work? He's usually right, actually, but whatever. I'm never going to admit it. So we aim to make more shows. We aim to bring more faces on. We're not going to rush. We're going to find exactly the right people. We have a list. We have a list. We are working through it at the moment. And it depends on, can they commit? Can they spare the time? The MO of this channel, as you know, is not to interfere with our home or work lives or anything else. So this person's got to be like that as well, because I'd never pressure somebody to come on a show, nor would Chris. So they've got to really want to do it and have the spare time to do it, right? So as well as being great characters, friendly, and sort of gel with us, on-stream chemistry is important. It's important. And I want to say thank you all because Chris joined shortly after I started this channel. I kind of knew he was. He didn't know he was, but I kind of knew he was. And I've got to say, he's amazing to work with. He's such a lovely guy. We've never once had a crossword in a year. You believe that? Made all these shows. Had the misery ones, we've had the happy ones, we've had all sorts, right? Because our emotions go up and down with the fortunes of the club, right? But we're kind of, like you've got an extreme of pissed off and an extreme of happy. We never. I think it's only Prague I reached that level of happy. Might have been Tottenham when we beat them with Lanzini. Yeah, been a few times. But typically, we kind of stay within those lines. We don't go to the extremes. We just stay. If we go to a game and we lose, and we ain't turn up, we're pissed off, right? We're angry because the team haven't given us what they should give us. Minimum we expect is effort, and so we're going to vary. This is Happy July. That's why it's called Happy July, because we don't know whether August is going to be happy or not. But one thing we'll always promise you is we're going to try and to sort of entertain you and keep it a bit upbeat wherever we can, because it's not our job to make our viewers miserable, right? We're not going to do that just out of choice. No way. But Chris is such a pleasure to work with. And what's given me the most pleasure, I've got to say, is his solo shows. He started doing solo shows. As with anyone new that does solo shows, slow uptake. Wasn't a slow uptake, really, flash kit. About four shows in, he's hitting the same views as me. And it's like, I'm a seasoned pro, for Christ's sake. But no, he does. He puts work into it. He's good at making those shows, and people like him. He's a very likable bloke, right? Ain't got a bad bone in his body, Chris. So look, we don't take this lightly. We love the fans, especially those who watch us regularly and leave us brilliant comments. I've said thanks to Claire already. I'll say thanks again. Thank you, Claire, for policing and keeping everything nice. So for year 2, we've been talking about direction. We're going to continue in that direction. We are primarily West Ham fans. That is what we are. We're the same as you. And that's partly the reason why we don't believe in charging you, because number one, we don't need to make the money. The channel will just pay for itself if we carry on going, and we can expand with the money we make from it. So there's no need to do that. There's no need to do that. That is our position. I'm not going to, that is not me, it's slight on anyone else. It's up to everybody what they do. And that is another rule for this year as well. We will not be participating in social media, including YouTube, outside of making these shows, because we want to be genuine. We want to be authentic. We want to go to watch games, and we want to carry those thoughts about the games that we got in the ground back to this channel. We don't want along the way to have those views polluted, watered down, changed. We come out of, we come out of the game with our views based on watching the game. We share those views with you. We're not going to do what we did at the times last year and watch channels and read Twitter and everything else. And by the time we get to make the show, you sort of got other things in the back of your mind. We're not going to do that. We're going to deliberately block it out. We've got plenty of sources of news that we can get without doing that. So that's what we're going to do. And also, I'm no longer on Twitter. Deleted my account the other night, thank God. My Facebook has been reduced down to well, this is amazing. I reduced it down to just a close circle of people I know well, have known for years, trust, and unfortunately, I had to remove a load of people. It's nothing wrong with those people, but it's just that I didn't have the same sort of intimate bond that I did with these others, and I trust these people. And I gave up on Facebook. I was going to delete that account as well. But if you're thinking of that and you're sick of Facebook, do what I do. Remove everybody. See, remove everybody either you don't know really well or you're uncomfortable with having on there, and then take yourself out of all the groups. I went down from 150 to 2 groups, and I own one of the groups. Now, Facebook is back to being what it was 10 years ago. It is amazing. In fact, I looked through my feed. I could not believe it. It was like Facebook used to be before it got all political, you know what I mean? Ruined it. Brexit ruined it, in my opinion. But this is not a political channel. So we've removed ourselves. We're not being exposed to any of that stuff. We ain't going to read any opinions on Twitter, outrage, anger. But there is another way that we can get targeted, and we're going to try to police it the best we can. But one thing I'll say is, if we do get trolls in the comments, or again, we're not going to rise to it. We're going to build a tower around ourselves, a moat, and we're not going to rise to any bait. Don't care what anyone says about us, what they say in the comments, or they leave an ugly comment in the in the live chat or something like that. We will calmly take their name. For a start, we don't kick people out if they do something once. We never do that unless it's really fucking bad. Then we would, because then that's the sign of just an unstable person, right? But typically, if somebody leaves something that's off color, now you can disagree with us all you like, but if I disagree with you, I'll disagree with you in a kind of in a nice way, right? Because you can disagree. You can disagree without calling someone names, getting personal, and all that, and that's the way it should be done. Once you cross the line of getting personal and abusive, then we'll have a look at your name and we'll take it down, make a note of it, and next time you do it, you're banned. You're not coming on again. No comments for you, right? Because you're not clearly grown up enough to be able to control your fingers. So we stop the temptation. We take it out your way. We help you out, So, so look, slowly but surely, we move through. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to get away from that environment where we don't want to antagonize anybody out there. Literally, no other channel, no person on social media. It is our mission to stay completely about this channel, the people on this channel, the views on this channel, the people who watch the channel and genuinely watch the channel, to not look at the trolls, to not react to comments on live shows. We want to be true to our word on this. I'm sure there'd be a few bumps in the road, but I hope there isn't, because this is a clear mission for us, right? We want to be authentic West Ham fans who go to games and bring that experience home to you, right? That's what we'll do. Anyway, part of that going to the game is being a West Ham fan. Primarily, I'm a West Ham fan, number one. So is Chris. Both brought up in East London, and our families support West Ham. That's why we get on so well. And so what we've seen from Graham Potter so far, in our opinion, and you have your own opinion about Graham Potter. I'm not going to tell you what to think. This is our opinion. We're entitled to it. In our opinion, he gets a blank page this year. We're not going to count his stats, which were quite respectable at the end of the year anyway, but we're not going to add those stats onto this year's stats, because for a start, completely different team that he will have a completely different level of control over. I'm not going to give him a fixed number of games either. Who am I to say he's going to get 10 games and then I'll decide? I'm just a fucking fan making YouTube videos. It doesn't give me the right to be judge, jury, and executioner of a manager or a player, let alone to character assassinate a player. I'm never going to do that. I have sort of done it in the past, but not. I've always had a heavy heart about doing things like that. I mean, they're humans, right? They're human beings. Don't care who they are. What do you want to fucking, tear them down for if they're at West Ham, right? The only exception I'll make is if someone screws us over, like the other bloke whose name I won't mention, then I might have a little pop. But while they're playing for West Ham in a West Ham shirt, trying their best, if they're lazy gits, I might dig them out. If they're trying their best, maybe they've got limited ability, limited technical ability. That ain't their fault, is it? They've been given a role and they're trying their best. As long as they try their best, that was always the measure for West Ham fans. That's why Ian Dowie once got runner-up in Hammer of the Year. And that is what I'd like to see it get back to, personally. I'd rather see a team full of effort and guile and love in playing for the club and trying their art out, group of youngsters preferably, trying to deliver the Potter system. Whether you like it or not, it's got to be delivered properly for it to work with the right players. If they do that, I'll be happy. And that is what I miss. I felt I had no connection with the team last year, and I want that to change this year. I really do. So look, I ain't gonna go on any longer. I've bored you enough. This is very, very self-indulgent, but that's why I left it to the end of the video. So I hope you've enjoyed this show. I hope I haven't gone around in circles too many times in that message at the end. But first and foremost, if you are a West Ham fan like us who want to support the team, this is a channel for you. You're more than welcome here, and it will be a nice place to meet other West Ham fans just like you, have lovely conversations, and you will be allowed to do that. You will be. Okay. So all we ask from you is that you carry on watching our shows, give us feedback if you like something, don't like something, whatever, right? It's always nice to get a comment to say great show or something like that, because it gives us confidence we just did something right. Yeah. I'm not the sort of person, nor is Chris, that we just because we make lots of shows that we're getting it bang on. Tell us, give us feedback, bits you like, bits you don't like. We are going to introduce things. We experimented a few times last year. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. One of my favorite videos actually was probably, I had a lot of favorites, but the most enjoyable one was when I shared Chris Akabusi with Chris, and doing like 2-on-1 like that. And it wasn't just started off obviously about talking about Akabusi. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It was so much fun to make. He's such a brilliant guy. He's got such a great personality and such great opinions and knowledge. He's got instant recall of really complex topics. He doesn't think, he just opens his mouth and meaningful words come out. Fantastic. I've not had a conversation with someone like that for a long, long time. Especially, I've never had a conversation like that with his background and achievements. Very impressive bloke. And I thought me and Chris sort of, we got a bit of a rapport with him. It was a really fun show to make, but the best thing was we did the great bit up front you've always got to do when you get someone who's done as much as him with his life on the show. You got to do the bit about his career, and my God, his career was amazing. His progression was amazing. So I knew most of it, but when I started looking into it again, I got so excited to speak to him. But then the best bit of the show for me was when we switched gear and we started talking about West Ham. You could feel his passion for West Ham just talking to him. He loves the club, and he had so many opinions, and he could draw so many parallels between, his athletics and athletes in general and footballers, leadership and everything else. It was a fun show to make. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. But that was one of my highlights of the year, but there have been plenty. But my biggest highlight of the year has just been making content, making what we try to be nice content with Chris, with Claire, and getting a good feedback from you that kind of validates us and tells us that we're doing a good job. That's all we ask. We don't tell you what to think. You think what you want. We're all grown-ups, and we never will either. Just be a fan. Be a fan. Support West Ham United. Let's heal that division in the fan base. Let's stop shouting at each other, and get back to let's have a group hug. Let's have a group hug. That's me done. I hope you've enjoyed this show. It's been a really long solo, nearly a bloody hour. I've spoken consistently for nearly an hour, but I hope it's been worth your time. See you soon. Come on, you irons.